Hola, bienvenidos a T.Lonoticiaseinformacion. El día de hoy tenemos una invitada especial, Honesty Liller, quien es CEO de Shin Foundation. El día de hoy vamos a hablar un poquito acerca de ella y un poquito acerca de qué es lo que ella hace en esta fundación. Hello, Honesty. Thank you for being here today.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yeah, we have a few questions because we really want to know, some about you and some about this foundation that maybe a lot of the people doesn't know yet. First, before we start, and with, I think it will be maybe on one of these questions, but who is Honesty Liller?
So I am a woman in recovery for almost 18 years. So May 27, 2007 is my recovery date. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a CEO. I am a woman entrepreneur now as well. And I'm a female leader in the space of recovery and addiction, as well as leadership development.
Honesty, can you share a little bit about your personal journey with recovery and what inspired you to become a peer recovery specialist? Yeah,
sure. Okay. So I started using drugs when I was 12 years old and I just wanted to fit in. I didn't like myself. I had a traumatic family situation. And honestly, I just wanted to be part of the crowd and the crew. And then I advanced to heroin when I was 17. And after that, my life really went downhill for about 9 years. I got full blown addicted to heroin and other opiates. And it was pretty rough. I had my daughter in that process. I did not like myself whatsoever. I committed lots of crimes. I did everything that normally people do when they're addicted to drugs. And from my lived experience, I wanted to be able to help people just like me after I came into the Shin Foundation. And that helped to save my life. And then I built a career from my heroin addiction, to be honest with you.
So, all right. What were some of the biggest challenges that you face in early recovery, and how do you overcome them?
The biggest challenge for me was just trying how to live on a day-to-day basis without the use of drugs. I started using drugs at so young that it was just part of my lifestyle and the human being that I was. So in early recovery, when I came to the Shin Foundation, I was 26 years old and I was in withdrawal. So I was dope sick and I was evicted from my apartment. My daughter was 5 at the time. I did not have her. I basically came in with 2 garbage bags full of clothes. So I had nothing but my body, a lot of trauma, a lot of healing to do. So in early recovery, I was broke. I didn't have any money. I wanted to use still. I hated myself. I had so much shame and guilt of the things that I did to my body, to myself as a woman, as well as everything I put my daughter through. So that was really hard. And the challenge for early recovery is just trying to live, just get up in the morning without having to shoot heroin, or get up in the morning without having to find a way to rob someone or steal or get money. So it was really just being a human being on a day-to-day basis without using drugs.
As someone who has been in recovery for almost 18 years, how has your perspective on addiction and recovery evolved over time?
So I feel like the addiction recovery movement has evolved and changed tremendously since when I entered into recovery all those years ago. Back then, it wasn't a lot of women staying in recovery here in Richmond, Virginia. So I got adopted by the 12-step community at the time. There was no female staff at Shin. So back then, I don't know why. Women just weren't staying in recovery. Now there's thousands upon thousands in our area that are staying in recovery. They're moms, wives, whatever, business owners. So that has evolved tremendously is the women recovery movement. And just the world in general, there was no funding back then. We had to fight for funding at the General Assembly in Washington, D.C. to get funding for substance use disorders. There was so much negative outlook and stigma against individuals that were using drugs and alcohol back then. Addiction really wasn't a thing, it was more of a moral failing to society. So with that, all these years later, there's so many more advocates, whether it's family members that have lost someone to an overdose, whether that's children speaking up that their parents are in recovery. So the world has changed tremendously, and there is a lot of funding now from the federal and state government for substance use disorders. So there's a lot that has changed.
As a parent, in a long-term recovery, how do you talk to your children about addiction, recovery, and making healthy choices?
Sure. So I love talking to my kids about addiction and recovery. So both of my children have been raised in the recovery movement. My daughter, when she was 5 and up, and then my son has never had to see me use. He's 15 years old. So they've been raised at McShin, which is an environment of love, trust, hope, and they have seen a lot. They know when individuals go away, they're either have passed away, they're back incarceration, or out there using. My daughter has been to funerals with me. My son has lost people close to him that he got connected with through McShin. So it's been rough. I don't know if I'm doing it perfectly, but I feel like I'm doing it pretty good. So we talk about everything in our house: fentanyl, the pills, going to parties, don't leave your drink on the table. My daughter is now 23. So we talk about, well, we've been talking since she was a teenager about, risky behaviors and who are you hanging out with and what's in the car. Like, we keep it real in our house. Like, my husband is in long-term recovery himself. So we just keep it real, because the younger folks that are coming into McShin, that could be my son or daughter. I started using drugs when I was their age, actually younger than they are now. But it's really important to keep an open, honest conversation with your children and let them know what the world is like out there. Not have to scare them and make it too frightening, but keeping it real. So we definitely are very authentic and keep it real in our house.
What led you to lead McShin Foundation, and what is a core mission?
Sure. So I went through McShin for my heroin addiction back in 2007. I lived in the female recovery house for 5 months. And then after I moved out of the recovery house, I started working there. I started just doing some admin stuff. I don't know what I was doing, honestly. I was 5 months in recovery. I got my daughter back immediately. I was just trying to give back to the women because there was no female staff when I lived there. And that built a career to where it is now. Back then we had 3 recovery homes. Now we have 15 certified, VAR certified recovery homes, and one being a women and children that's actually named after my daughter, Destiny House. So that's been a beauty. We're getting ready to come up on 2 years of that. But McShin's core mission is peer-to-peer recovery community organization. We're the only accredited RCO in the state of Virginia. And what that means is we are accredited by a national body, and then our board of directors, and then myself, and then the rest of the team. 92% of our staff have lived in our housing, so they're alumni just like me, and most of our team is in recovery themselves. So we provide day-to-day, every single day of the year, peer-to-peer delivered recovery support services, and then we have linkage to medical professionals. So if they need detox, if they need therapy, CSACs, the grocery store, we have a transportation department. McShin has grown significantly since I lived in the houses, for sure. And then we help a lot of people that are incarcerated. So we help 2 different jails. We're in there delivering peer-to-peer recovery support services to those that are incarcerated, with the hopes of them leaving incarceration, coming to our recovery housing. So just peers helping each other and trying to heal families and save lives.
We don't kind of believe that it's going to happen to us. It's not going to happen.
That's every community.
So we kind of say, oh no, this is not going to happen to me. My kids are not going to go through that. But I think it's really important to be informed. And like you say, to be open to talk with our kids, because at the end of the day, all of this is around them. All of this is close to them, closer than we even imagine.
It's everywhere. Yeah.
So, okay, let's go to the next one. We go to 6, right? What are some of the most impactful programs or initiatives your foundation has implemented?
So 3 things I'll unpack with that. So number 1 is same-day services. So coming into our organization and moving someone in our housing the same day. That is critical. That is crucial. They shouldn't have to wait 30, 60, 90 days to get a bed for their substance use disorder. That's number 1. But we also need funding for that. So yay, make a donation now. Yeah. And then I'd have to say Destiny House. So for years, we've gotten hundreds and hundreds of phone calls of women, pregnant women, family members of women that have children. And we constantly said, no, 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 because it is challenging and it is different when you're helping the human, the adult with substance use disorder, and then you have babies and children, running around. It's a lot. It is a different world. And it has been challenging, but it's been the most beautiful thing I feel that McShin has done, because it's part of my lived experience, and thousands of others, that have come through McShin needed a safe place for the mom and the child to heal together, instead of putting the child into foster care. So that has been amazing. And then those that are incarcerated. So that's really one of our favorite things to do as well, is delivering peer-to-peer recovery support services in those institutions and teaching these humans that are incarcerated that they're loved, that they don't have to be incarcerated again. A lot of them has so much trauma and just kind of how they were raised, and it was generation after generation. And we're here to stop that generational, I want to say curse, I guess, but that generational, phases through everyone's lives. So that's one of the most beautiful things too, is to be able just to go into those jails and leave. That's also fun too, to be able to walk out. But just a light of hope. We call ourselves hope dealers. We're giving people hope.
I think you just say something that is really important. When people think that maybe like it's a curse, or it's maybe because, you live in this area, or your parents are coming from this, that's not gonna decide your destiny. No. I love your daughter's name, and I'm sure that's why you ending maybe using it. I'm sure you will have something to explain about the name that you put on your daughter. But for people, sometimes they grow up thinking that because maybe they don't have money, or they growing up on some certainly areas, they think that they're gonna end it on jail, they're gonna end it on drugs. Right. So it's important for us to speak, to them and let them know, hey, we are here. This is not what you need to end up.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. I truly believe everyone has a path, and sometimes we take detours. So my path at the time in the chapter of my life was drug addiction. I took a detour to recovery, and I just stayed on that road. So I believe everyone can change in this whole entire planet if they choose to, and they really work hard to do so.
So how do you see the role of life experience in shaping effective recovery services?
Sure. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for lived experience guiding me the way. When I overdosed when I was 17, I went to therapy. So I went to Jesus, I got baptized, I went to 12-step meetings, I got medications. But coming into the McShin Foundation all those years ago and living with women like me, just trying to get their life together, whether they were addicted to drugs or alcohol, whatever it was that lived experience that saved my life. I have no question. I know that's what saved my life. And God and a lot of other things. But really, the peer-to-peer connection gave me the chance to learn about myself from someone, specifically if it was another woman that was a mom, addicted, to drugs while pregnant. That changes people's mindset on the shame and guilt that they feel when they walk through the doors. That there's someone across the table, the couch, wherever, that has lived experience of using heroin and being a mother while using heroin, or, having a traumatic childhood and then they got addicted to drugs. So the lived experience, I feel, is the number one in my professional career of saving lives, is being able to share that we've been there in the addiction piece, and now we're here in the recovery piece, and we rock.
I'm really happy to hear that. And I know if you went through that, I'm sure Jesus was in there, every step. And if he take you from there, it was because he knew that you will have the power to go through all of this and now be the change for a lot of the mothers, like you said. I think it's really hard for maybe them to accept that they going through this. So like you said, knowing that you went through all of this, give them hope.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I believe it 100% that my 14 years of using drugs brought me to the place that I need to be. I have no question. I walk in my purpose every day and I know it. So not a lot of people can say that, but I know I do.
You've been featured on major networks like Fox News, CNN, and PBS. What has your message to the public about addiction and recovery?
Sure. So for me, addiction can happen to everyone. I mean, anyone, everyone, everywhere. So the reality of it is for me to get on these TV stations and be in a voice for someone that has substance use disorder, but as well as the hope piece that you can recover and you can have an awesome life. That's very important to me, to show people to not give up on their family members or loved ones, to show people out there if they happen to be watching. I didn't watch much TV, only when I was dope sick, because that's all you can do. And like really be out there and show the world that we're awesome people. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm an author of a book, I am a woman entrepreneur. Like there's so many things that I can say and sit here that recovery has given me, these beautiful gifts. But it's really important to be able to get out there and spread the word to the community, to show others that they can do it and to show others that it happens to everyone. So don't discriminate because someone, well, not everyone, excuse me, but it could happen to anyone, and not to discriminate and just throw them outside, love them, care for them, get them help. So being able to have these opportunities on these outlets is to show the world that we are amazing human beings and we're human beings.
So what are some of misconceptions about substance use disorder that you aim to correct through your advocacy work?
The biggest is the negative outlook on addiction in general, that we're horrible people, that we deserve to be incarcerated, that we deserve to not be in this world, that we deserve everything that we get, I guess, while we're in active addiction. And I think that that is horrible way to look at any human being personally. But I think the biggest misconception is that it's not going to happen to you and it's not going to happen to your neighbor or your church friend or wherever. Because I have seen thousands of people come through the doors of the McShin Foundation, and it's all walks of life. So many different neighborhoods and states. We get people across the whole United States. And just to let you know, like, it is wild out there right now. There's so many different drugs right now. There's fentanyl, xylazine. I can't even pronounce some of them. So with the drugs being as big as it is now, and alcohol is really the number one, to be honest with you, it is important to reduce that negative outlook on addiction and teach people in the community that we all need a little help. If everybody around this world, we're going to get Dr. Phil real quick. If everybody around this world really focused on helping someone every day, and it doesn't have to be you give them $100, just listening, even if it's 5 minutes a day, this world will be a completely different place, a much kinder place to live.
What advice do you give to individuals who are newly in recovery and struggling to stay on their path?
First, I love you. I care about you. And you just need to learn a little bit every day how to love yourself. I am you. I just happen to have a lot of years in recovery and a lot of experience, but I've come from the bottom and I'm not even to the top yet. I still have a lot of more work to do. So don't think, you probably will think that you're a big piece of poop, but you're not. You're an amazing human being. You can get a life in recovery, whatever that may look like for you, and just live your life. Like, I'm a big believer that we only have this one life on this planet. So for me, I do my hardest every single day to be kind, happy, joyous. I don't do that perfectly every day, but just remember to forgive yourself. Like, that's the biggest thing I try to teach the individuals at McShin. Sure, stop using the drugs and alcohol, fine. But really, it's that inner love and healing your heart and your soul. That is the longevity of recovery, is just loving yourself a little bit more every single day. So you got this. You got it.
What's one message you would like to leave with those who may be struggling with addiction or have a loved one who is?
Don't give up. Don't give up on yourself. Don't give up on your loved one. It is hard. It is challenging. It is hard to live a life in addiction. It is hard for the family members because they're the easiest to hurt, to steal from, whatever we got to do to get money and drugs. It's just the reality and the nature of the beast. So the biggest thing is to not give up on your loved one. Set your boundaries and let them be kind boundaries, because I have seen a lot throughout all of these years and try to teach family members how to have healthy boundaries, but also how do you also heal your family as a unit, because that individual that's using, it affects everyone, the brothers, the sisters, the parents, the community, sometimes, like, just in general. In the individual that's struggling is like, don't give up on yourself, but also try your hardest to surround yourself with people that love you. And if you're a loved one, I treated my family horribly, and we've healed and we worked through all of that. But I do thank God that they didn't completely give up on me. My stepmom and my daddy knew about the McShin Foundation, and that's why I'm here today. And even though it was so many attempts to get me into recovery, and God bless them, because I put them through the ringer. But that final last time, something went off, a light bulb, whatever you want to call it, but just don't give up.
Do you have any number or something that they can, if they needed help? Do you have like a 1-800 or how to do?
Sure. No, we got a good old 804-249-1845. You can show up at McShin, 2300 Dumbarton Road, or our website is just mcshin.org.
804-249-1845. Este es el teléfono al que puedes hablar si necesitas ayuda. McShin Foundation está aquí para ti. Y también puedes ir directamente a sus instalaciones. Ellos están en el 2300 de la Dumbarton Road. Esto es Henrico. ¿Es that Henrico,
yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can go, ustedes pueden ir directamente a este lugar si necesitan ayuda. Si están pasando por esto, ya sea ustedes o alguien de sus seres queridos, no duden en pedir ayuda. Siempre es magnífico sentir el apoyo de alguien más que ha pasado por esto o que te puede brindar la guía para que salgas adelante. Así que thank you so much for being here today. It was great. I think it was a really important information that we give out today. I would love to learn more about you guys, and I think we will have people who will be watching these videos who will be happy to hear that you guys are there for them.
Cool. Thank you for having me. This was great.
Así que nos vemos, chicos. Bonita tarde.